The Jet Kevin Knight has only been with AEW for a year and change, but in that time he has established himself as one of the promotion's biggest future stars and, frankly, one of the most promising and must-see stars of its present. With his exciting high-flying ability and stage presence that oozes off the screen, Kevin Knight is one of professional wrestling's best young prospects and has been pushed accordingly. In just the past year or so, he has gotten wins over major AEW stars, multiple shots at the World Heavyweight Championship, and he is currently well into a run with the TNT Championship. But the Jet was truly filled with rocket fuel with his heel turn at this year's Double or Nothing. This relative newcomer to the promotion in his early 20s closed a show main evented by AEW's two biggest stars of today. In what I considered to be a pretty inspiring booking move, Kevin Knight was immediately rocketed into the main event scene for good. The Jet seemed unstoppable, which is why this past Wednesday some eyebrows were raised when it was announced that the Jet Kevin Knight had joined the Don Callis family. The Don Callis family, for what it's worth, is essentially AEW's all-star bad guy team. Kazuchika Okada, Kyle Fletcher, Konosuke Takeshita, until recently, Mark Davis, Jake Doyle, El Clone, also Lance Archer and Roppongi Vice. This team is filled to the brim with evil talent, both well-established and on the rise. While they may not be the most cohesive group of super friends, they consist of a roster that can go toe-to-toe with any faction or supergroup in wrestling history. And yet, when it was announced that Kevin Knight was joining their ranks, it was somehow deflating. Now, I'm not here to spell doom and gloom for Kevin Knight. Far from it. If anything, I do think this move is proof of a consistent and sustained push. The Don Callis family, for better and for worse, is all over AEW programming. By joining the group and rubbing shoulders with the likes of Okada and Fletcher, Knight is damn near guaranteed a main TV spot even after his TNT title reign ends. And yet, I can't say I'm fully in favor of this move either. Something I loved about Kevin Knight's heel turn and his entire arc of him slowly and quietly becoming more frustrated at his near main event successes is that it was a strong and individual direction for him to take. There was some mild background character work with Swerve, but other than that, this wasn't a turn that was egged on by the likes of a Don Callis or some other malicious force whispering in his ear. This was a story beat about his own individual ambition, about how Kevin Knight believed that he was not just the future, but the present, and pushed his way into that scene by any means necessary.
I know how ambitious you are. And that's your best and your worst quality. But Kevin, you're impatient. You get ahead of yourself. And you make mistakes.
All this is to say, it was a very strong foundation for a very compelling singles character. As such, I don't really understand or see the necessity in putting him into this supergroup. I do get it on a pragmatic level, a couple of pragmatic levels. While Kevin Knight is, in my opinion, ready for world title programs now, if not necessarily a reign, that scene is going to be held up for at least a year. Held up is maybe a harsh word, but there are clearly plans going into the near future. Kenny's probably going to win it at Redemption, and he'll then drop it to Ospreay at All In. But even once we get past those possibly maybe predictable beats, there are still so many people who are on that upper mid-card cusp that are begging to break out into the world title scene proper. Andrade, Bandido, Brody King. Swerve is most definitely owed a second and more substantial reign with the belt, and I struggle to see a world where the likes of Okada and Fletcher don't touch that world title within 2-3 years. And so while Kevin Knight joining the Don Callis family to me kind of screams holding pattern, initiating that holding pattern does kind of make sense for the time being. And holding pattern doesn't mean that he can't grow or do good character work or certainly good in-ring work in the meantime, but I also think he could have been doing all of that on his own. He doesn't really need Don Callis over his shoulder. He doesn't really need that as an impetus to start feuds with, say, Fletcher or Okada down the line because they'll probably butt heads as the star players of this all-star team. You could have done those feuds anyway because you've already established Kevin Knight as this character who is gunning for the very top, who will take out whoever he has to get there. You know, he's this young, arrogant, ambitious guy, and characters like that are kind of tailor-made to feud with anyone and everyone. As a character, Kevin Knight does not need the Don Callis family at this time. Also, not for nothing, Kevin Knight doesn't need a manager to cut promos for him. Granted, the promos he's cut so far haven't been terribly long or complicated, but what Kevin Knight's done so far has been really, really promising, and I'd put him with some of the better talkers in the company. He has just such great stage presence, so much confidence, and this really good, really rich voice for promos.
Because let's keep it tall. Let's keep it a buck, Philly. Let's keep it real. Who was the last person that MJF was looking up at, huh? Who was the last person that humbled MJF? Me, the Jet.
I don't know if you put him in a promo battle kind of thing quite yet, but he has shown so much potential here, as he has with every other aspect of his game, and I just don't think that putting him in a position where he would be cutting less promos at this stage is a very smart choice at all. This is a guy with the ability and the confidence to get reps on TV, and you should be taking full advantage of that. Granted, he could still talk in the Don Callis family. It's not like they're just gonna take that away from him entirely, but I don't know, it's one aspect of the move that I don't really vibe with. There's also the more practical, mechanical booking side of it. By establishing this partnership with the Don Callis family, you give Kevin Knight tons of allies to team with in multi-man tags. It will give him things to do on collisions and dynamites where he's not necessarily in a title feud, where he's not defending his TNT championship, to which I'd say that has not stopped them from just forming heel teams on the fly for tags before. An entire genre of AEW matches. These heels and these babyfaces are feuding. Let's mush them together and put them in a tag match with allies they haven't necessarily interacted with before so that they can, you know, go against each other in a party tag match. It's fine. And if you were going to do this, I would argue that it would maybe be more of a compelling angle to show Don Callis maybe chase this prospect a little bit more, because I do ultimately like Don Callis collecting all of these capable young guys for his super team. I do ultimately think that Don Callis and the Don Callis family have been well utilized as characters. That Okada-Takeshita feud took a little too long, but other than that, it's fine. It's certainly at its best when it's not just the Kill Kenny Omega squad, but we could have gotten a few weeks out of showing Don Callis playing that managerial game. It's something he's done before with other prospects, sure, but the very sudden nature of this announcement really caught me off guard, and I felt took a lot of the wind out of the sails of his very bold heel turn he'd done not 2 weeks prior. Ultimately, for as much of a cliche as this phrase has become, this is something I'm willing to see play out. Let it play out. You never knew we're on the road to all in. But I do worry that immediately putting Kevin Knight in this group undermines and dilutes the effect that his heel turn had at Double or Nothing. I feel that at this time he would be a character best served carving his own path rather than becoming, while this is reductive, yet another Don Callis family henchman. Henchman isn't the right word. He'll be a main player, but you know. But ultimately, I don't know where this is going. I don't know what the ultimate purpose of this is, and this is a booking team that, with a story like this, I do trust them to have some kind of intent with it, for better or for worse. I just don't think that putting Kevin Knight in this hierarchy where he is not at the top of a hierarchy wasn't the wisest decision. If you really wanted Kevin Knight to have a group, I would have had him kill Hook and take over the ops, because that is not working out for old Hook. Why is this anime twink in charge of Katsuyori Shibata? That's weird. Anyway, that's about all I have to say on it. A little bit of a light one today. I've been in a little bit of a writing rut, so I wanted to get out this quick sort of ramble with my thoughts on this. More proper essays are to come for sure in the very near future, so stay tuned. With that said, Thank you for watching. As always, if you enjoy my videos, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you want to support me further, you can become a YouTube member. Starting at $2.99 a month, you will get bonus videos exclusive to members and your name on screen at the end of every public video. Later today, I'm recording one for the Noche de los Grandes because that was requested by one of my members, Jack Kruger, but my thoughts on that aren't necessarily coherent enough for a public video. And the Death Riders bonus video is still on the table. It's not abandoned, it's just heinously procrastinated. And for $5.99 a month, you will get a verbal shout out at the end of every public video, which will sound a little something like this. Thank you to my supporters but larger, TB Skyen, Stephen Gorman, Norman the Great Dane, Jack Kruger, and Yami Loves Wrestling. With that said, I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I will see you in the next video. Goodbye.